So where I am in terms of where I've evolved with my social media usage today, I feel like it's so much more helpful. Like it's made room for a lot more narratives in my mind.
How did Binaifer's social media debut happen? Well, it's definitely awkward in 2006, and what followed next? Let's hear it from her.
But I remember 2 years from then, my entire batch made this made this mass migration to Facebook.
Further, she reveals her thoughts about social media anxiety and the kind of pressure that we as netizens face while trying to keep up with the ever evolving social world.
Today, we all talk about the pressures of social media, especially amongst preteens and teenagers, and they are all very real. And there's a sincere need to help kids today sort of deal with social media anxiety and help them toggle their virtual and real worlds and create value systems for them. But I feel for me, back in the day, because it was also fairly new, it became a crash course in impression management, because I saw myself very actively trying to project a version of myself that I was most proud of. So I feel I understood myself a little better because of that.
Binaifer's using social media more holistically, and how has it helped her shape a lot about the worldview? Let's find out.
So where I am in terms of where I've evolved with my social media usage today, I feel like it's so much more helpful. Like it's made room for a lot more narratives in my mind.
She also observes that most social media platforms mimic each other in many ways, but Instagram is by far her favorite because of the positive vibes that it brings along. And as she talks about her social media stunts, all while adorning some quirky face filters, let's find out.
Maybe it's positive by design because it's difficult to share content via Instagram. So it sort of limits any kind of propaganda effort. Of course, there are ways to circumvent it, but that could very well be a reason.
Also because Instagram has evolved very interestingly. When it started off, it was this place for sexy live imagery, and today text tweets perform really well. Text-based content does very well on Instagram. It's a place for editorial style photographs with long form storytelling in the caption. So the diversity of content is super interesting to see on Instagram in terms of its own evolution.
Binaifer has been harnessing the power of social media and leverages the medium to address the gender gap that exists in the creative leadership space and amplifies the percentage of female creators.
So the most gratifying thing that I've done on social media is co-running the community page for Indian creative women on Instagram. In case you haven't heard about it, Indian Creative Women is a private networking forum for women in the Indian advertising industry. It was started by Sakshi Chaudhary, and its main aim is to amplify the percentage of female creatives in the industry and to talk about the very serious gender gap in creative leadership roles. So I feel through this Instagram page, we've sort of been able to solidify our community, find more allies, and create access. There are a lot of mid to junior women who now have access to the leading lady through this community forum. And it's become a space for all of us to sort of talk about our shared vulnerabilities.
According to her, while the popular opinion also states that it is easy for things to trend on social media, but she feels that it is important to know that a platform like Twitter has 2 crore plus Indians, and remember that a trend does not represent all the collective voices.
And I guess be very selective about what you consume on social media, because that will define your experience and it will ensure that you don't sort of get lost in the barrage of things that are out there. I technically can do without any of them, but I would say Instagram.
Any handle that tries to spread any kind of propaganda, I think it needs to be banned, or spreads any kind of fake news or spreads hate needs to be banned.
I'd say you should check out Probablina, my colleague on Twitter. She's too funny, along with PG Sareen and Ishtaat. Like, you have to follow these people on Twitter. I think it is to make the tone of voice for different brands a lot more complex. A lot of times we tend to oversimplify it. A brand is irreverent or a brand is funny, but it needs to be a lot more complex because people are a lot more complex.